Hey guys, welcome to Still Too Much podcast. I am your host, Liz Mears, and this is the podcast where we have honest conversations about neurodivergence, parenting, mental health, education, and what it means to live in a world that often tells us that we are too much. So, whether you're neurodivergent yourself, you're raising a neurodivergent child, or you're simply trying to understand things a little bit better, I'm so glad that you're here. And today I'm also really excited because I'm joined by the fantastic Louisa Orlando, who is in Australia. So it is very early. Well, it's not very early for me. It's 8:30 here. So what time is it for you over there, Lou?
It is 5:26
Oh my goodness.
p.m.
So everybody grab yourself a cuppa, whether it's a cup of coffee or to wake up in the morning or go to sleep. Um, do tell me a little bit about who you are. Introduce yourself, my sweet.
Um, so everyone calls me Lou, but my name's Louisa. I am 24 years old, and in Australia, I live in Melbourne, which is kind of the bottom of Australia. I live independently quite recently. I have a house. I bought a house 2 years ago, which is super exciting for me. So I get to live in it, which is kind of like a surreal moment. I work in an amazing hospital. It's one of the biggest hospitals in Australia. You might have heard of it called Royal Children's Hospital. Um, and I work in administration there, so I do all like bookings and like I answer the phones. So basically admin at Royal Children's. I also have a second job, which is called the Inclusion Project. Basically, the Inclusion Project is a funded project by the sporting events in Australia that runs sensory rooms for neurodivergent kids and disability children. So I set up the rooms with about 37 officers like me that do that as well. Um, Personally, I love books. I love horses. I love singing, writing. I've been really into journaling this year, which is quite new for me because I never really knew that I could write. Like I was a really bad writer in school, and now I absolutely love it. I journal every single day. I love to cook. I love that I have my own space and I get to create stuff. And I love the art. I love painting and drawing, and I'm such a little doodler. Like I love like drawing little circles at work. It just helps me like learn and like listen. So if you catch me doodling, like don't be alarmed.
I love
So yeah,
that.
that's
You're,
me in a nutshell.
so what we're saying is that you're basically really, really similar to me, just in Australia and 20 years younger.
Yeah, I think like we're the same person, just like a different halfway across the world, basically.
Oh my goodness. The minute anybody says horses, and I'm like, oh, horses. So
Love
do
horse
you,
riding.
oh my goodness, do you still ride?
I would love to, but I haven't ridden in so long. But I do appreciate the sport, and every time it's on the Olympics or like on the TV, I'm just so captivated in like how they can do that, especially the dressage and like just how they're doing that. It's just amazing, like with the horse and like how they can just be together. It's just so beautiful. But I used to do it when I was a child. I loved riding horses. And yeah, I would love to still do it. I still think I can.
Yeah, you
I
won't forget
still
that. It's
think
like
I
riding a
can.
bike.
Yeah, it's literally like riding a bike. Like once you're on, you kind of just like have the feel and just do it. But love horses and they're
Oh,
such an
they're my
amazing animal. They
favorite.
really are. Yeah.
There's something very, very special in the connection between human and horses, and
Yeah.
there's just something magical there. And I mean, I rode as a kid. I haven't ridden. I don't think I've actually ridden in about 18 years, but I've
Wow.
been around horses and taken my kids have gone horse riding, and like that it's the smell of them. And if anybody else loves horses, they'll understand that smell I'm on about.
Oh, the
They're just
smell is
magic.
just like so identifiable. It's like, oh my God, that's the horse has been here, or like
Yeah.
I'm walking in a paddock or something like that. Like it's so. It's so, so cool. Like even driving, there's an hour out of Melbourne, there's like the peninsula with like all the beaches and stuff. I'm not sure what that equivalent is in the UK. But an outside Melbourne, there's Drumana and there's a place called Ganamata. And like when you're driving into Drumana, you have that smell. Like there's horses fed on the road or like something like that. So very country. Yeah,
You're never too old to shout horses in
I
the
know,
car as you're driving along. No.
I know. So cool to spot them as well. Like, oh, they're down there, or there. Like, it's like playing Monopoly
There
or
they are.
something.
Oh, that's so fantastic. Well, I would keep talking to you about horses, but we'll be here all day.
Yes, I know.
So, what I'm just really interested in is because, as I said to you before we press record, you are just a little bit older than my own son, and I am very inspired by the fact that you are out there living independently, and you've just told me that you've bought your own house, and like that is just perfection, you know. I'm so proud of you. That's just incredible. And so with regards to that, because you're ADHD, and now you also have auditory memory processing disorder, which I don't actually know a lot about. So
Yeah,
I was hoping you could maybe inform me.
yeah, of course. I think 1 in 5 people have memory processing disorder from my research that I have done. Basically, it is just having trouble understanding and processing information. Takes me a little bit longer, especially to new changes in environments. Um, ADHD as well, combined with that, along with some chronic anxiety that I have developed over my teenage years and just maybe like the start of high school. Um, Having ADHD as well has been really challenging because it's hard for me to focus on a task and fulfill the tasks at the same time. So yeah, for auditory processing though, it can be hard to process information. I find it, it can like I was having this conversation with my dad that it actually chemically changes with you over time. So even I look back when I was in school and the issues that I was having in school are completely different to the issues I'm having now. Like it affects me like paying bills or like having a big life change or going to a destination that I'm not so familiar with via tram or train or like public transport. So that affects me in that way. But at school it was like maths and geography and so it chemically changes with you over time. And you adapt to it over time as well. So yeah.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things that more like you said, it's is it 1 in 5 people and everything. I think a lot more of us, especially as a Gen X person myself, it's something that I have realized over the years that I probably would count as that, and I've just
Mhm.
adapted. It's like we're going to London this week, and that is out of my comfort zone. And so I've already got like maps downloaded and like where I'm going, what time I'm doing stuff. Um, because the ADHD is very spontaneous, and I would
Yes.
be like, oh, off and go and do that. But then there's this, I think I'm not diagnosed, but I suspect that I'm autistic as well.
Yes.
And and it's this constant kind of fight inside my own head
Mhm.
to what is I want to be spontaneous, but I also want routine because that feels nice. That feels
Mhm.
very safe. What would, with regards to how you have learned to kind of, adapt and live, what has helped you to do that? Would you say there's been specific techniques or tools, or is it age or, wisdom?
Yeah, so it took me 3 years before I moved in. I wanted to really prepare myself. As you were saying, as someone that lives with a disability, you kind of over prepare. There's kind of the opposite. It's rather you don't or you do, and I'm the person that does. I am like with ADHD people, like it's completely different for every person. It's not the same, even though it's the same diagnosis. It's actually not the same. And if you look at two people that
Yeah.
have the same disability, so I over prepare and over plan basically, which can be kind of a recipe for disaster or actually a good thing. But it took me 3 years to actually feel comfortable that I can actually live independently. And I trained myself. And I've had support in place as well. My family has been incredibly supportive, and has helped me and taught me how to live on my own. I was incredibly independent at such a young age, maybe around 11 or 12. I was really independent, walked home from school, got my brother situated, maybe, help prepare a little bit of dinner or like put the washing out or something like that. Like my mom would kind of give us a list to do and we would do it. So I've always had that level of independence at a very young age. But having this transition in life, I really needed to have a plan. So I thought 3 years was a good time to kind of do house sitting, dog sitting, learning how to do things like cook and clean and, how to run a household, basically. That might be easier for some people, but not maybe easier for neurodivergent or people with living with disability. So it took me a long time, but then I felt really confident when I got a lot more practice and I adapted to that. Like, there was periods where I would be house sitting for 2 months, and that was a long time. So I got to feel like, okay, like this is how it would be, like just a little snippet like that. So yeah, like I felt like that really helped me. And then when I felt really confident, then my family was really supportive of that. And yeah, it kind of just things kind of happen naturally as well. So when the time's right for you, you would feel it and you know that the time's right. But I think having family, a good support system, carers, friends, people that can help you on a daily basis or maybe teach you tips and tricks. So like, having a calendar or, an app on your phone, reminders at night, that help you. Meal prepping as well. Like meal prepping is another thing that I kind of learned as well through my brother, through my mom. Um, and just cooking I've learned through them, so things that you learn from your family you kind of adopt that within your daily life. I know that i I have learned some of the things that they've taught me, and that's showing within my living style at the moment. So
I think it's really
yeah.
important to understand that as a parent, because we kind of feel like we're maybe not doing enough, but actually, what you've just said is that your parents, just through general normal stuff, which is living and learning to cook and learning to like use the washing machine and all those sorts of things, those are actually incredibly important to be able to allow somebody to go off and be independent. You don't have to be thrown in the deep end.
Yeah. No, definitely. I feel like it's super important for people living with disabilities or neurodivergency to, have an outlook like, yeah, I can do this on my own, or I can do this with flatmates and live by myself. There is opportunities and support for you out there, and I hope that um, there is more impact because it's really important. And also to give parents a little bit of a bird's eye view on what their child would look like when they're older, especially when they've just been diagnosed or maybe misdiagnosed or maybe don't know what's going on with their child. I like to give a bird's eye view on like, this is what your child's future can look like living independently. And this is
Hugely.
kind of the roadmap for that. So, yeah.
Yeah. I really, really appreciate that. As a mum, I massively appreciate that as well. Just and not just as, neurodivergent myself, because um, when my son got diagnosed, I was instantly okay with it, but my mum really struggled. There was a lot of grief about what he might or might not be able to achieve. And I think because of my own psychiatric problems that I had when I was younger, and so I had to learn how to do the washing machine at 14 because I was living away in a hospital. So I already like that was sort of already done for me. So I have always with my kids just kind of assume competency, and then when they struggle, then I just like fix the whatever it is. We learn together in the
Yeah.
moment what is needed. But I think a lot of people do worry that their children perhaps won't have the best outcome that they perhaps originally envisioned for them. And I don't mean that in a, it's really hard
No,
because
I agree with you, mean, because it's like you look at other children or you look at other parents and you're like, oh, like, is my child going to be as successful in life? Like, are they going to get a job? Are they going to, work independently, or do I have to care for them for the rest of my life? And I agree with that. I agree that, there is a little bit of compare and comparison to children, and obviously it's inevitable. You see them at pickup, and you go to parties and all that stuff. So of course there's going to be some comparison, but just know that, like, anything that your child wants to do in life and puts their mind to, they can actually do that with supports in place. And they might just need an extra help in the classroom, or have an aide or support worker or carer. Those people in life actually help you. Like, I'm still so close with my teachers, and I'm 24 years old, and I talk to my teachers all the time. I think
oh,
teachers are such a roadmap as well, and they help you mold the person who you become today. So there's all these different things and avenues in life, but it's not a barrier, it's a superpower.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think you're a beautiful example yourself of how we can take something that could stop somebody else and we actually turn it around with empathy and with time and just reframing how we're doing it. I mean, your example of going, taking that 3 years to work over becoming independent for independent living, that's like ideal to me as far as I'm concerned. That's a wonderful amount with you doing the house sitting and things like that, because it's that, oh, I'm out in the world, but I've still got that safety net beneath me right now, so it enables you to kind of be brave for a time whilst knowing that you are still safe. And I think that's, again, in this country, we have resilience thrown at us quite a lot when there's neuro. I don't know whether it's the same in Oz. And it gets to the point that nobody wants to be resilient anymore because we're fed up of hearing the word. But it is about learning through our own wants, because you wanted to live independently. You then found your
Mhm.
way through to it.
Yeah. No,
Yeah?
don't get me wrong, it wasn't easy.
No.
I had struggles as well, especially now. Like, I'm still learning, I'm still adapting to things and finding out things that I need to do as well. But it's also about, if you really put your mind to something, that you can achieve it, especially if, I'm starting to see a lot more, teenagers and young adults get jobs that they feel confident in, like packaging or working in a warehouse, retail, working in a coffee shop and barista training or anything like that. Or they're going to school, and I feel like TAFE, or I'm not sure what if they have university or college in UK, but they I feel like they're becoming a lot more inclusive, which is great to see. I recently just interviewed a 18-year-old that's living at a university, who is getting support, and she has autism, within her university platform, and also finding work within dance. And she is studying dance. So it's great to see that, yes, not every single child's going to be academic, and not every single child's going to be, you know, a lawyer or doctor, unfortunately. But
Not
that's
everybody
great.
wants
It's
to be one
great.
of those things, do they?
100%. It's being creative and having, you know, really great jobs that aren't even created yet. So I think it's great to see that people are wanting to work and feel like people with disabilities or neurodivergency want to work with people. I think it's just like kind of I've seen a lot more, they want to work with children and people and make a difference and help people. Um, and it's great to see them working. And whoever's watching who is working, keep it up. I worked full time for a really long time until I felt comfortable to take a step back a little bit. But yeah, like, I like hats off to anyone working full time or who, who is working, you are doing an amazing job.
Absolutely. And I think it is that differentiation between the fact that you don't have to be a doctor to be making a difference in the world. It's like if you are working, like that's incredible. It doesn't matter what you're doing or what, society says about the job you're doing. You are being, it's an incredible thing for you to be
Yeah.
doing. During COVID, my partner, he worked security like most of his life, but he went back. He needed to do something easier, and so he was on a production line. But during COVID, he was actually a key worker because he was making things for COVID for the bottles and
Wow.
like so like he was, and it's kind of it would really put it in perspective to me that it really doesn't matter what you're doing. You are still very much needed in this world. And have something fantastic to give to it. With regards to your job and everything like that, how I've got a couple of questions here because I was asking about it because like you are working sort of inside the system a bit more now with the children and everything. So how has it shaped your ideas around how children and families can navigate these systems and things?
Oh, definitely. Fortunately, I feel like we don't really have the best systems in place, not just government-wise, for families to access. I feel like, yes, we do have a broken system, and it is really tough for families, especially, if they are really new to this game, and trying to get support, it is really difficult,
Mm.
especially with all the cuts that have been making, especially with NDIS. Don't know if you're familiar with
I don't
NDIS.
know that, no.
Oh, we have NDIS, which is disability insurance scheme that
Right.
provides a lot of supports in place, but there are being cuts to that. But it is good that we are having more programs like NDIS, like Thriving Kids, that are going to help lift some of that capacity because I think what's happening now is that a lot of people are in that system and it's kind of overflowing,
Yeah.
and not really what it's designed to be built, I guess.
Yeah.
But I think it's important that, if you are a parent that's just having a child that's been diagnosed with ADHD, for example, it is really confronting. I feel like it's like, what do I do now? How do I get supports now? And there are so much testing, and there is talks of medication and talks of other avenues and speech pathologists and learning aids in the future. It's like a 4 to 5 year kind of timeline for that child
Yeah.
in school, especially. And I feel like it could be better for people, navigating that system, and just it's just so difficult to just see that, there's so much paperwork as well. I feel like, I say that, as a joke, I say like it's kind of like torture, like paperwork torture
No, it
of
is.
little parents.
It is.
It really is. It's like you're just mountains and mountains and mountains of probably paperwork and documents and evidence and talking to this specialist and this specialist. And it's just like, it is so overwhelming. I can't imagine how it must be for a parent, especially a parent that's just, their child's been just diagnosed with a neurodivergency or ADHD or a disability, and they're trying to figure out and get information as well on how to help their child, but also dealing with all these paperwork. It's just torture. And I just feel like the government needs to see that having a neurodivergent child or people living with disabilities, it, it's it's cognitive. It
Yeah.
doesn't change. Like,
Yeah.
your brain doesn't change. Like, I don't think they understand that. It's like, oh, we want more evidence. Well, what more evidence can you get? It doesn't change. Being cognitive, it doesn't change. It's the same.
That's it. That's it for
Yeah,
life. You just learn to
chemically
work
it
with it.
changes, but it's not in your brain.
Yeah.
And I could be wrong here, but I know in your brain and cognitive testing does not change. It is the same. It
And
doesn't matter if you're taking it 5 years ago or 2 years ago. It's the
yeah,
same.
Absolutely. It's the same, and I mean it's like when us as particularly older women go and get diagnosed and everything. It's that we realize just how many things we have put in place to support ourselves without realizing to get
Mm.
through. And like for instance, all the paperwork, it is like torture, and again, I was only good at that because I'd had to do it year after year for myself with my
Yeah.
psychiatric stuff.
But if you're not really familiar with that, like, what do you do? And then, like, you go to these places, like these support systems that's supposed to support you. Oh, it's not enough evidence. Oh, we can't help you. Oh, what are they supposed to do? Like, they can't get more. And I feel like the government doesn't really understand that, cognitively, if it's a learning issue, it doesn't really change.
Mm,
Physical disabilities are just as important as hidden disabilities. There's around 85% of Australia, um, and 1 in 5 people living with a hidden disability.
mm.
It's incredibly, I'm not sure what the stats are in the UK, unfortunately, but
I think they're pretty. I haven't
yeah,
checked them
but
recently, but
85% are hidden. So
yeah.
let's sit with that for a second. That is a lot of people.
How many
And we
people
need
are
to recognize
quietly
that.
falling apart?
Yeah, 100%. But how many people who aren't diagnosed and who don't know that they have it and
Yeah.
what their support system is? It's just this conversation needs to be, talked about, and it's not talked about enough. I feel like there are people calling the shots in government that just don't know, have any idea what they're doing. And I feel like it's just such a broken system of, making cuts to actual people who are in the system who need that funding for speech pathologists, support workers, carers, language aid. Some people don't speak English is not their first language. So we need to have a multicultural, diverse
Yeah.
system that people can actually understand. It's really
Yeah.
important. I feel like for Royal Children's Hospital, they are so, 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 so good in providing language aid for people and having interpreters on site. Like, I'll call an interpreter, they'll be there. Like, it's great for them to actually feel like they can understand you. And
Yes.
it's such a barrier as well because,
I can't. Yeah.
you know, it's like I want to connect with them, they want to connect with me, they have concerns, I have concerns, but it's just like we can't communicate, and that third person can actually be the bridge
Well, yeah.
between
It's
me
hard enough when you
and the
speak the
patient.
language to get the help you need.
100%, yeah, yeah. And they're also coming here for support as well. They're just as concerned, and they're just as concerned and worried and stressed out. So it's important for them to feel heard as well. And for anyone who doesn't speak English or is not their second language, you are seen. And it's great. I feel like it's so important to have that within our system and to have more supports for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what would you say if I asked you what would you think that families need sort of most when they arrive at the services? What would that be? What are they
Well, I
after?
definitely think first the paperwork needs to be just, like I feel it's just so hard and just all these verification checks that are just really not necessary. Like, I think we just need to kind of just tone that down a bit. Like, no one needs to go through that much paperwork in their lifetime. I know I have been doing it 3 times and it's not fun. And just like I don't feel like it's nice to prove to the government that you have something like that. It's not something that I feel good about. I'm not sure of what the viewers think, but it's not something I feel good about as well. And
It's
I feel like it's
hard.
important. It's just
Yeah.
really hard. I think
Especially when
for
you
me, yeah.
well, I'm sorry, I
Yeah,
was just
sorry.
going to say, like, when you're writing about your children and you have to, like, I had to write it for my son about what he was like on his worst day ever. And I don't really want to think about that. Thank you. He's so much more than what he is on his worst day ever.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. I also think that, what I feel is a really good example of like trying to make improvements is okay, let's make a few smaller groups. I feel like it's just so big and commercialized a lot.
yeah,
And when you get big, you kind of lose the purpose of basically what they're there for. Like I feel like,
Yeah.
I would love to see maybe some smaller groups or communities or organizations who only maybe have a few hundred, maybe 100,000 people that can actually help with the services and provide consistency. I feel the thing is that we don't have consistency within our providers and amazing providers that we have, and we do. And without our learning aids and speech pathologists and social workers and carers and anyone, those are the backbone within the disability sector, and they are fantastic. But there needs to be a little bit more of a smaller organization to actually help with this and take the pressure off NDIS and the pressure of these big, government organizations per se. Just because I feel like there's not really enough support within those communities, and they need to be given funding to actually help. I think so. I think smaller the better. I don't know if that will help, but smaller the better. Actually, and the paperwork needs to be really
I
evaluated.
think I agree because I think it's something that needs to be more human again.
Yeah,
That's the
and I'd
brunt of
like
the
to
matter.
see. Yeah, and I'd like to see more disability people helping disability people.
Yeah.
You know, give them work.
Yeah.
Like why, like we are an NDA's provider, you are wanting to help people, but where is the connection? I feel like there's no connection.
Yeah.
And I think it's a great system to actually sponsor and actually have work experience.
Yeah.
I think that's another thing that, you know, maybe parents can maybe get out of it is that there's some work experience, volunteering, helping out, want to make it more community based than
Yeah.
just government. I think that's what I want to see is
Yeah. I would
make it
totally
more
agree.
community. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
I
yeah,
think
I'm
it
not sure
needs
what
to
it's
be
like in the
brought.
UK.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I think unfortunately we're very similar with the struggles that we have. We've just got different government systems that are named differently. It's like we've got CAMS, the Children's and Adolescents Mental Health Service, and people are always struggling to get their kids seen. There's never enough people, but I know that the people that work there are wonderful, wonderful people and there for the reason to help, but they don't have the funding and they don't have the amount, like whenever you look at how many open job openings they've got, there's always loads of job openings because, and so, which means there's not enough people to see everybody. Hence,
Mm.
everything goes on even longer,
I feel like when you said more job openings, I'm thinking burnout in my head.
yes,
Why is there like so many job openings? It must be
yeah.
such a high turnover of
It's like with
people
our
because,
teachers.
yeah,
The teachers are burning out as well. And
and
again,
using their own money to pay for supplies, to pay for things that should be paid by the school or by the government.
yeah,
That's like they're also not making a very big income per se.
no.
So
And
our
we're
teachers are
burning
our
out
superheroes.
really
Yeah,
important people, right? These are, you
super
know,
annoying.
teachers quite often are, the front line to what is seeing what's going on in kids' lives and things like that. And if they
Yeah,
don't have if we haven't got these amazing teachers in place with enough capacity left, I suppose, to help make the
yeah,
change, then unfortunately, it does it does go on, and I think the answer is something along the lines of bringing the power back to more local community.
I think so.
Um,
I
and
think they should get some power as well. It shouldn't just be all one system and then it just branches off. Like it should just be lots of different communities. That way, people have lots of variety to actually get. I like to say to my patients, the more, the, sorry, what was I going to say?
okay,
The net that you cast in the sea, if you put more fish, if you like for a referral, if you send more referrals, the wider net you're going to get.
yes,
In getting an appointment or getting your child seen, it's the same system. It's like
yeah,
if we have a lot more community-based kind of providers and a community-based, supports in place for these parents, like social workers and all that, people are going to Facebook to even get jobs. People
Yeah,
shouldn't be going to Facebook to get jobs. There should be communities for this.
yeah.
There should be organizations for this. Like, there's obviously a gap, a very big gap in the system that the government's not really taking any accountability for.
No, and I think it's definitely going to be us that are neurodivergent and disabled, and I think it's going to be those of us that have capacity
Mhm.
to be able to help start filling those roles. I mean, it's like I'm here doing the podcast and that. I wouldn't have been able to do this a few years ago because I was just concentrating on my kids, and I was burnt
Mhm.
out and all these sorts of things. But the minute I was able to sort of think, oh, I've got some space here, I can help. I want to help. I think, and the amount of people that I have met, like yourself, that are out there doing something, they just want to be part of the fix and to make it better. And I'm really interested for you to tell me more about your City Edit Melbourne.
Yeah.
I'd love to
Mhm.
know more about that, what you're doing.
So I started that quite recently, in June. I
Oh, it's a baby.
wanted, yeah, so it's brand new. I wanted to do it because my work with inclusion project and the sensory spaces, I got to meet some incredible, fantastic inclusion officers who are working with disability and also this is their full-time gig. I'm doing this part-time, but they're
Yeah.
doing this full-time. And it's insane to me how they can be positive, come to work every day and be super happy and super supportive. And I just thought I should promote this, but also give everyone and also people with disabilities and rewrite the narrative that they can also live a normal life. If you have a disability, you can live on your own. And I am a product of that, basically, because it's important. And I was inspired and I wanted to do it. I felt like I had the time and capacity to do it. And I actually asked my followers, I was like, what should I, if I was starting a vlog series or, a kind of an Instagram series, what would you call it? And City Edit was the most popular. And it had a really cool name to it because I live in the city. It also showcases accessibility in Melbourne. I I like find foods and like do little food vlogging as well each month. But also the spin-off is if it's sensory friendly and has accessibility. So that's
That's
kind of how
wonderful.
I make it different to other food vlogs.
Yeah.
Vlogs, I mean. Um, so
I know what you mean.
yeah.
It's all the same. I know what you
Yeah, it's
mean.
all the same. But yeah, so I wanted to do that, and I felt like, Melbourne kind of needed something like that, for me, and yeah, so here I am. Yeah.
I love it. And what were the you're talking about because you've got the inclusion project that you're part of as well and everything. So does
Mhm.
that tie in
Yeah. Yeah,
something
I
together?
promote inclusion as well. Yeah, so as an inclusion officer, we always like get the opportunity to do some filming and content, and they love us doing filming and content. And it's always great to get new clients, new members, and basically trying to promote inclusion. The more people we have, the more funding we have to make more sensory rooms and bigger stadiums, and in putting them across Australia, basically.
So the
Ha-
sensory rooms, where
yeah.
where, where would you find them? What?
Yeah, so they're in major sporting events. So, for example, we have like the Melbourne Cricket Ground, which they do all the football and cricket, and they do a lot of events. Taylor Swift was there doing her concert, and like they do lots of concerts. But in major sporting events, stadiums, there is a sensory room.
That's
And we do it
fantastic.
across we do it across basketball, netball, we do it across NRL, like rugby, um, tennis. We also do Disney on Ice
Oh, wow.
as well. So we do a lot of sporting events. And you can find them on the Inclusion Project on Instagram,
Yeah,
and there is a link as well to sign up to a newsletter.
fabulous.
So you get kind of updates on what's happening. You can possibly get invited to a few games or events as well for free.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, so
Oh, I'll
it's
pop
a
it all in the
wonderful
description and
initiative. Yeah,
everything. You
yeah.
can send me all the links
I'll
so
send
that
all
I
the
can
links.
have
Yeah.
it nice and easy.
Of
Yeah.
course, yeah. So you can definitely, um, get that support as well. And the best part about it is that all the inclusion officers live with disabilities as well. So we are super easy to connect with children and families and whoever wants to be in the sensory room. Not just for children, for young adults, for teenagers, for tweens. They're all welcomed as well. And
What
it's
about
great to
adults?
see. Yeah, adults are welcome as well. They're welcome as well. We have some amazing sensory rooms. They're all different. So some are a little bit bigger, others are not. But like I was at Rod Laver Arena, which is another really big sporting event. They do the Disney on Ice at the moment.
Mm.
We had about like 37 people. It was like kind of like the size of this room. It was just like like the demand for these sensory rooms are very, very big. They're getting a
Yeah.
lot more noticed, but also with the sunflower lanyard. I'm not sure if you know about the
Yes, we
sunflower
have the
lanyard.
sunflower.
They
Yeah,
are all,
yes.
yeah, so they are global.
Yeah.
And yeah, so we are with the sunflower lanyard. And we are also a visible reminder every time I see. I'm seeing a lot more children with sunflower lanyard, and every time I see one, I go up to a parent and be like, "There's a sensory room." And they're like, "Oh, thank you." They're having a
Yeah.
tantrum and they need to be like somewhere. I've gotten some great feedback, and
It can
it's
be the
great for me.
difference between parents taking their kids out and
Yeah,
not, because that would always be my thing with my boy, especially. I say my boy, he's 21, nearly 22.
yeah,
But like it literally is like, what can I say to him that will then even out, like, because if he wanted to go see monster trucks, right?
mhm,
So we could go and see the monster trucks, but he equally needed to know where he could be, that he could just sort of turn his brain off if needed. That was how he would describe it to me, you know. And it, unfortunately, they haven't had a lot of that. So it sounds wonderful to have somewhere you can just go away and be quiet.
yeah,
And
100%. Yeah, and also just a place that you can just de-stimulate and just be yourself, and then go out and have fun. That's the
yeah,
whole point of the sensory rooms, is to provide a space where everyone can enjoy the event or sporting that they love,
yeah.
and that
Because
they know as
sometimes you
well.
just need just nothing. I
Yeah,
personally, I'm very much, I love people. I love to be out and about, but it absolutely exhausts me.
yeah. When you get home, you're like, I am so tired. I don't want to talk to anyone. Just want to be by myself.
Yeah,
And also at these stadium events, there is sensory packs that you can rent for free, with headphones to watch it within like just a kind of short-term relief, for children and families. And then yeah, so that's something that I've got a lot of people that have used that. And there's also an occupational therapist within the sensory room.
oh
We
wow,
partnership with Living Without Boundaries, which is an occupational therapist and speech pathologist. I don't check that, but
yeah.
I think they do speech pathology as well. And there is always an occupational therapist within the sensory room. So
Wow,
sometimes it's like months and months and months wait to see those specialties. So having that in the sensory room, just maybe having a quick assessment or having something or talking to a parent or whatever, is super helpful for our clients as well.
so helpful.
And yeah, so it's just like an added bonus to the sensory room.
Yeah, and also it kind of takes the pressure away from that kind of mad, like that craziness of waiting for the big specialist appointments and things. So to have it as just kind of like having a little chat and
Yeah,
makes it
basically,
a little
it's
bit
really
easier.
chill. It's down, like really down to earth. And they are also, some of them are studying to be an OT, so it's a great experience for them. So it's kind of a win-win situation. And they are the most kindest people that I know. And they're so passionate and so great. Like, I don't know what her name was. I'm so sorry, but she gave me her fidget and I forgot to give it back. And we still have her fidget. I'm so
Ah.
sorry. But she was like, "Here you go," because I was overstimulated. She's like, "Here's a fidget, you can have it." I'm like,
Mm.
"Thanks," and I still have that from that OT. So that was insane. It was great. It was so
That's
fun.
really lovely. And so I'm just trying to get my head around the inclusion project is separate to the City Edit. The City
Yeah.
Edit is what you're doing to kind of raise voices.
Yes, and also it's share my experience with inclusion as well and promote inclusion at the same time. So the
Yeah,
City Edit is solely one man show. It's by me.
yeah.
And basically I'm just advocacy for disability, accessibility around Melbourne, and yeah, and just featuring stories and acknowledgement of what people are doing currently with their disability, working, are they going to university? Are they doing choir? Are they going to inclusion projects? It's a platform of saying you're doing a great job. This is what they're doing and acknowledging that. So
It's
yeah,
absolutely
that's
incredible. You are very busy.
yes. I don't stop. I like being busy. I have my finger in every pie.
Is that something that tickles your brain to be busy and have
Yeah,
all these things to do?
love being busy. Yeah. It's a kind of a, I don't know, a madness of mine. It's a method to my
No,
madness,
I
being
totally
busy.
understand it. I completely understand it. I can't sit and do nothing.
No,
I'm
not
not one
neither.
of those people. My
Maybe for a little
mum,
bit, but not every day. Yeah, no.
yeah, and it's
Yeah.
funny because my mum's not diagnosed, but she's probably autistic, to be honest. And she's like, "Oh, I can just sit and watch the TV," and I'm like, "You do realize that you're sat there knitting or something at
Yeah.
the same, like
Like enjoying
you're not
something.
just sat there doing nothing." Um,
Yeah.
but no, I think it is part of having the neurodivergence, and it's working with ourselves rather than
Hmm.
against. Certainly, since I've been diagnosed and have kind of allowed myself to be that busy person that I always, rather than
Yeah.
beating myself up for it, I'm now like, right, well, I have a flow in which I work. And I just work with myself, and I think that's really important for other people to be okay with themselves in that way.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, you've got, I'm blown away by all the different things you do. I'm sort of like, oh my
Okay.
goodness, putting it all together in my head with so yeah, going forward, like, what's the plan? What are you looking forward to in the next
Yeah.
year, and then maybe the next, I don't know, do you
Oh,
do
I would
5 year
love,
plans?
yeah, I would love City Edit to be something that people recognize or know. Or I think Instagram is a really great platform because I feel like everyone has Instagram, or their mums or their dads have Instagram if they don't have Instagram yet for the little ones.
Yeah,
So I felt like Instagram was a great platform, but I would love for it to be, love to do more collaborations and really spread the word for NDIS, and try to create some possibilities there, and maybe collaborating with some NDIS providers, and maybe the City Edit could be a part of their journey as
yeah,
well, just documenting, doing some social media. It's basically a social media platform, but love to just, it's also a great way for me to meet new people as well and to create friendships. I would love for it to be like kind of a social, maybe,
yeah.
like just meet at the pub or like City at the pub or something
That
in
would
the
be
future,
cool.
to create like an online family like you have, which is great because I would love to connect with people, and it's super fun to kind of see. But yeah, for me personally, I would love to just, maybe own a few more properties and maybe go into business management, and do like be maybe someone on the table, making the decisions. I'd love to do that.
Yeah, yeah,
And then, obviously continue my work with inclusion. Don't think I'll ever stop that. It's so good to be a part of that and to
it's like
support that. That's my
a
passion
passion
work.
project.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's amazing, and just I'm really looking forward to see that grow. That started in 2019, by the way, with like 15 people. Now it's 30, 40 people
Wow,
doing that officer job. So that's great. And
wow.
Yeah, so it's really cool.
So how did you get involved with it actually?
I was through TAFE, so I did TAFE as soon as I left school. And then COVID happened, and I was thinking, oh my God, my life's gonna be so cool. And then I was at home for like I graduated in 2020. So I graduated
Yeah.
in COVID. I had no year 12, basically,
Yeah.
which was
Uh,
so sad to me. Like no formal, no party, no
Nope.
trip, nothing. I was
My
just
son
so
missed all of
sad.
that as well.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's just horrible. But like I was thinking, yeah, 2021, we're out of the trenches, and then COVID again, and I
Yeah.
had to do uni from home, and I was so devastated because I was just like, oh my God, like I'm not going to meet any friends. I was at uni to meet friends, really. I also for
Yeah.
myself and have a career, but I wanted to meet friends and wanted to like
Yeah.
have a group, and like everyone told me like you meet uni and your friends, and I'm like, yeah, I was super excited, and I just didn't really get that opportunity to meet a lot of
No,
people.
and I feel so
Yeah.
sad for you because it was taken away from a lot of
A little
you, a lot
bit,
of
yeah.
you young adults, and then down to the kids as well, because so much was taken, and it upsets me for, what could have been, because like my
Yeah,
son, he got his GCSEs that year, 2020.
yeah,
Um, and so then would have gone on to college and stuff like that. And
yeah,
unfortunately, COVID massively affected his confidence in just being out
yeah,
in the world. And I don't think people account for it enough for you guys, how much it did sort of put like a in the plans, you know?
yeah. It was really sad because I felt like kind of robbed in a way. And it was just really
Totally valid.
upsetting. But I did an internship at the Royal Children's. That's how I got that job. Sorry.
Oh,
But
how fab.
yeah, so I did an internship while at COVID, so it was a bit like, oh, a bit scary because
Yeah.
sickness and everything, but I was really, really, really careful.
Yeah, it's just
And
that.
then, and then with Inclusion Project, they kind of approached us and was like, would anyone like to like they came to the tape and wanted to see us, and we were like, great. And
Yeah.
I did work education, basically learning about the workforce, resumes, and like doing work stuff. So I really wanted to get into the workforce because I didn't have a job.
Yeah.
And I was really like, I really want to make my own money, I really want to have a job. But it was really hard for me to get a job. Like I I had a lot of no's than yeses, and a
Yeah.
lot of interview no's than yeses, and I felt really degraded because I was like,
Yeah.
I don't feel like it should be something I should hide from my resume, or I should put my disability on my resume. It should be
It
more
shouldn't be
inclusive.
an issue.
100%. And employers need to understand that you need to have inclusivity within your job and within your platform.
Yeah.
Um, and then I don't
Yeah.
know if the UK has this, but we have a lot of employment providers. So like, people who have disabilities or finding it hard to work, there is like a service that you go
Yeah.
to and they look for you for a job, and they also maybe have connections within the job field.
I
I don't
don't
know
know.
if that, yeah,
I
I don't
will add
know.
to look that up if that is something that we've got. I would hope
Yeah.
so, but I don't know.
I hope so. Like it is really good for disability people to get to have that platform,
Yeah.
especially people who are non-verbal. I have a friend. His name's Oscar, and he is a non-verbal child, super smart, super super smart,
Yeah.
and he does packaging. He does the
Brilliant.
boxes for Amazon.
Yeah.
Just put them in the box, and
Yeah.
that's
Which
what
we
he
all
does, and that's
use.
so great.
Everybody
A
uses that
hundred
as such
percent,
a
it's
valuable
such a great,
thing.
100%. It's a great, great, great thing to have that those jobs are so inclusive, and I
Yeah.
think it should be more inclusive to people with disabilities as well.
It should, because otherwise you get all the people that are like, oh, they're at home just doing nothing. And
Yeah,
it's
I
like,
know.
well, they're
It's like,
trying.
well, they are trying. It's really hard at the moment. There's a 4.6% unemployment rate in Australia. Just so
Yeah.
high. And I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but it's so high.
Oh,
And
it is.
it's
It's
really,
it's
really high at
worse.
the moment. And
Yeah.
it's hard for people with getting a job, especially that you're a teenager and you're wanting to find work, like at Macca's or something. Like it is really hard to get a job. Even at Coles, it's really hard, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's different,
There's a lot
versus
of
our supermarket. Um, yeah, so I keep
yeah.
forgetting we're not in the same worlds. Like we have different things. Like your my calls is something else, and like so.
It's interesting to see how it's both different and similar, and there's similar, like it's just different names for similar things
Oh,
going on.
very, very, very.
I
Yeah.
find it really fascinating to see how it goes as well. I've got one of my besties moved to Australia in 20, oh my gosh, 2019, I want to say. She'll probably
Oh
kill me
wow,
for
yeah,
that.
cool.
But it was literally just before COVID and everything. They've
Well,
got
she had a good time.
she
Yeah.
love well, yeah, other than COVID, she loves it, and she's got citizenship with you guys now. Um like, but I find it fascinating to see how it differentiates but doesn't, we're quite similar, but unfortunately it definitely having these conversations makes me realize that there is some like real systemic failures around the world, like with the governments and how things have been put together or not put together and are letting down people around the world, literally on similar problems, like with the jobs and with the accessing the help and education and all these sorts of things. And I think, um what would you do, you know when I say, like, your voice is starting to have an impact, so what impact do you want to make, I think, is the question.
Oh,
you
so
know
many, but I think the main one is, you know, changing the narrative for disability people that they are just as successful, um, and just as capable of doing anything,
yeah,
um, with a little bit of support and help, and that's okay. And let's making that okay. And I think that's the impact I want to do is just give them an outlook and a bird's eye view of what it could be like,
yeah,
and supporting families and looking at that platform. So yeah.
absolutely. And what about on your harder days, kind of, everybody, I don't like the toxic positivity.
Yeah.
So how do you look after yourself when you're having, a
Oh,
hard time?
definitely. It's really, really hard for me. Like sometimes I feel when I'm low, I'm really, really low, and I'm high, I'm really, really high. So it's really hard. But how I look after myself is just being around friends, family, and my partner, and like having a great support connection. I love to feel love, basically. But for me individually, journaling is something I've adopted, and that has helped me through a lot, and especially with auditory processing, regulating my thoughts is really important. And something I've learned over time that I really didn't do when
I'm a
I
huge
was
journaler as well.
18, 19. Yeah. So journaling is something I do, going on walks and, having like kind of an adequate amount of fitness as well. Like
Yeah.
even if it's walking or just like, I'm really uncomfortable with fitness. Don't really have a very fitness platform for me personally, but I
Yeah.
think doing just little things like walking or going to a market and walk around a market, or even going up and down the stairs
Yeah,
is
I think it's really
something.
underestimated,
Yeah,
just going for a
yeah,
walk.
yeah, I think so. So, for me, I've tried to adopt that within my day to day, and just try to put some level of fitness, within it. Doesn't have to be a lot. I can relate to a lot of people, like that. That it's not their
Yeah.
first, not their top priority, but it is also important
It
to
is, and it's
adopt.
like we said at the top of the show, the horses thing. I didn't realize just how much exercise I was getting riding the horses because it didn't feel
Yeah,
like exercise. If you
yeah,
try and put me in the gym, I don't want to know.
no, yeah,
Just not, that's just not
no,
me.
same, no,
But
no.
if you want me to walk out for a couple of miles with the horse, that's fine.
Yeah, 100%. And then, you feel it. My legs are really sore now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So, yeah, no, definitely. I agree.
Oh my goodness. So, as we're coming to the end of our time now, so I was
I
gonna,
was
is it
having
so,
fun.
I know. Honestly, it's so hot. I could chat forever. I have, it's just such a pleasure to meet people. Like you
Same
say,
here.
it's that human connection and it's just magic. So I'm going to ask you just a couple of rapid fire questions um to start, So what would be one thing, I think you've probably touched on this already, but let's just clarify. What would be one thing every employer should understand about disability inclusion?
Um, that um, it's different for everybody to be educated, and the best supports within the job, for that person, if it's sensory needs, having headphones, listening to white noise, etc. That's something that there. And for inclusion is to adopt, for the whole team, education and having supports for that for the team to help that person, as well.
Yes, I love that. And then I think I'm going to ask you on top of that, when somebody includes you and you are, is inclusive, how does that make you feel?
Oh, super happy. I'm super happy. I'm already like picking out my outfit and I'm like, yes, I'm super excited to do this. Like, yeah, like as someone that included me, even if it's like get nails done or like do something like outside of work, I'm super supportive and super happy about it. So I can just imagine what someone who is neurodivergent or living with a disability feels as well. So they would feel extremely, extremely blessed and super excited to be involved. Yeah.
I love that so much. I think that's the little thing we need to bottle, isn't it? Is that feeling of love and it makes you feel so wonderful and it gives me goosebumps.
Acknowledgement as well, and acknowledgement, like they're acknowledging person. So yeah, yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Oh, thank you so much for coming on today and chatting with me, Louise. Louisa, Lou.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
that's fine.
call you Lou. It's so funny. I seem to have an abnormal amount of Louisas, and Lou's in my life right now.
That's great. It's very rare. Shutting up. I'm glad they're all in the UK.
I love it. There's loads of
Yeah.
you. Well, my lovely. So thank you so much for being here. What a great place to finish on. Just that joy of being included that everybody should get to feel. And I hope that everybody out there listening today has felt that inclusion as well in this, this chat, this conversation. I hope that we've made you feel seen and understood, and maybe just a little bit less alone out there. So please do follow the podcast and subscribe. You know what to do on all those things. I don't need to keep asking for it. Just please do. Check out the description below for how to get in touch with our lovely Lou. And until next time, keep trusting yourself and stay unapologetically still too much. Bye.